In this set of problems, we have a class that has an average grade of 72, so the mean is 72, and the standard deviation is 7. Now in this problem in part 3, it says that the instructor wants to give an A to the students whose scores were in the top 9% of the class, and we want to find the minimum score needed to get an A. So what we're going to do, oops, here we go, is draw the normal curve. That's all right. And what is it that we want to do here? We know that the mean is 72 and standard deviation is 7. I can mark off the standard deviations if I want to. It's not particularly helpful here though. So we want to give an A to the top 9% of the class, and we want to know what the cutoff score is for that. So in this top tail, we want 9% of the class. That would be the top 9%. But the way your calculator works is that we always have to find this cutoff score by looking at what percentage falls below that. So if it's 9% in the top, then 100% minus 9% gives us 91%. So 91% falls below this cutoff that we want to find. So what I'm going to type into the calculator, and I can do this by pressing second and vars. And I want to choose number 3, which is inverse norm. So whenever we have a percentage and we want to find the boundary value from the percentage, we use the inverse norm. If we have boundary values, we want to find a percentage, that's when we use the normal CDF. So here we're using inverse norm because we're starting with the percentage and we're going to find our boundary value. So I put in the percentage that falls to the left or falls below, and that's 91%. And then I put in the mean, 72, and the standard deviation, which is 7. And I didn't pre-calculate this, so I will do that now. And that gives me 81 point, I think they wanted this to 2 decimal places, so it's 385, so we're going to round that to 39. So that's my boundary value. So everyone with an 81.39 and up would get an A for that class, which is kind of surprising. That's more like a B, but okay. Now, and I close the parenthesis here. It's not really necessary to close the parenthesis on the end. If you're using a calculator with the stat wizard, then when you press second and vars and choose number 3, it's going to take you to a window, I'm going to put that over here, where it asks you for area, and that's the 0.91, and mu, which is 72, and sigma, which is 7. So, and then you choose paste. And that will take you to this, and then you press enter in order to get your 81.39. So that's how we do that problem. And all of the problems in this section are fairly similar. You're doing basically the same thing. Let's take a look at part 4. So in this problem it says between what 2 values are the middle 62% of the scores. So again, I'm going to draw my distribution. Do my best. All right. And we want the middle 62%. So it's 62% in the center. And we want to know between what 2 values So we have two values to find here. Now, in these problems, they're always either going to ask you for the boundary value when you have a top percentage, so whatever percentage is in the top tail, or they'll ask you for a boundary value when you are given a percentage in the bottom tail, or they'll ask you for the middle whatever percent. And the fact that it's the middle 62% is what makes it possible to find those boundary values, because 62% just somewhere randomly in the middle would not be possible to determine what the boundary values are. But if it has to be the dead middle, the exact center, then what we can do is say, well, what percentage do we have in each tail? If we take 100% minus 62, that gives us 38%. That means the total in the two tails together is 38%. And if we take that 38% and divide by 2, we get 19%. So that means that there's 19% in the top tail and 19% in the bottom tail. And now, to find my boundary values, first I'm going to find this one. I need to know what percent falls below that boundary value, and it's just the 19% that's in the bottom tail. So, in the calculator, I'm going to do inverse norm, and the 19%, comma, and then the 72%, which is the class average, or 72, this is the class average, and then the standard deviation is 7. And when I do that, then I get 65.85. So that's going to be this value. Oops. 65.85. And then to find the next one, I'll do inverse norm. Now there's a couple of ways to do this. I can add together the 19% and the 62%, or I could just take 100% minus the 19% in the top. Either way, I get 81%. So I'm going to put 81% here, comma, 72, comma, 7. And that gives me 78.15. So now I have the two values that bound the middle 62%. And that's how you do that problem.